Muttaqeen, people who want to save themselves. From what? From the fire of hell, number one. Displeasure of Allah, number two. And basically, they have a moral sense within them. And they want to avoid and save themselves from evil. If this moral sense is active within them, then actually they will always be in search of the truth, in search of what we can do. Those people who had prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, sirat al-lazina anamta alayhim, it was their desire. It was their own search. They wanted to have the guidance. Now actually this is the relationship between Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah. You ask for guidance, hudan lil-muttaqin. Get the guidance. The guidance is being given to you. And these are the do's and do's. Do these things, don't go this way. Go this way and don't do these things. So actually this guidance is given here, hudan lil-muttaqin. But as I discussed in that lecture, although we find in the 23rd section of this very surah, hudan lin-nas, this has the guidance for all humanity. But you know, only those people will be able to avail of his guidance who have in themselves the search for truth and guidance, who want to have guidance. Who don't want to have any guidance, they will not be able to avail themselves of the guidance that Quran is giving. If somebody is not hungry, he will not look towards any food. That food might be very nourishing and very tasty, but he has no hunger. He can't take it. So actually there should be a hunger. That is actually the need for guidance is taqwa. Because you want to save yourself from going astray. You want to save yourself from evil, from doom, on the doomsday. If that desire is there only, then you will be able to avail of the guidance of the Quran. And who are those muttaqeen? Alladhina yu'minuna bil ghayb. Those who believe in the unseen, who know that the reality lies beyond the realm of our senses. They are very limited. The basic reality is they lie beyond. Just as Confucius, the very famous thinker of China, he has been reported to have said, there is nothing more real than what cannot be seen, and there is nothing more certain than what cannot be heard. Things which are not visible by these eyes, which cannot be heard through these ears, they are the most real things. This is a very shallow, superficial part of reality. So this is the basic thing that if somebody denies, no, there is nothing beyond our perception, then he will not be able to avail of the guidance of this Quran. Only such a person who understands, who knows that our senses, we can reach, but to a very limited extent. The reality lies beyond it. يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. And then they establish prayers. Because that reality, the Al-Haq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now you should have some contact with him, some communication with him, and to have a regular communication with him, you must establish prayers. فَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. And whatsoever we have given them, they spend out of it. Spend out for charity, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the spreading of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for making the deen of Allah supreme. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. And those who believe in what has been revealed and sent down to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And not only you, but they believe also on what was sent before. They believe in Torah also, they believe in Injil also, they believe in Zabur also, and they believe that the prophets have been given with revelations and guidances before Quran also. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Here we know we find the word is changed. Not yu'minun, but yuqinun. About the hereafter they are convinced, they are sure. They are sure that this life is not all human life. The real human life is in the hereafter. Death is not the end of our existence. It's just the gate towards the eternity. Because after death there is going to be resurrection. And after that resurrection, فَإِنَّهَا لَجَنَّةٌ أَبَدًا أَوْ لَنَارٌ أَبَدًا. It's eternity. Eternal existence. So actually death is the gate to eternity. Actually they are convinced, they have the yaqeen. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ. This ala is very important here. These are the people who are on the guidance from their Lord. They are already on the guidance. And they will be increased in their guidance. But they are already in the guidance. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And they are the people who will be successful, who will reach their final goal. That is falah. Now please note here, what these ayat denote is that because Quran was being revealed for last 12 years before the revelation of these ayat, there were people who had taken the guidance of Quran. They were transformed, their characters, their seerah. They have been, and they were practically present. These ayat are practically pointing towards those people. They are the people. There is Abu Bakr. Look for him. He is the fruit of this Quran. Every tree is known by the fruit it bears. The guidance of this Quran has produced a jama'ah, a group, a community of people like Abu Bakr, Umar, Osman, Talha, Umair. They are the people who have benefited themselves from the guidance of this Quran. And the Quran, has produced a certain community who have these characters. الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَىٰ هُدًى مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. So this is actually the ta'weel al-khas. When these ayat were revealed, as if these ayat were pointing towards the people whom Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had prepared by the hard work of 12 years, their training, their tazkiyah, their tarbiyah, and through the teaching of this Quran. يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. The teaching of this Quran and hikmah has produced people, a community. And they are the people whose qualities and attributes are given here. But if you insert generally, what will be the inference? If anybody wants actually to avail of the guidance of the Quran, he must take this path first. He must produce in himself the qualities that are being given here, as if they are the preconditions to avail the guidance of the Quran. If you want to tread on the path that Quran wants you to tread, these are the fundamental conditions, rather we should say preconditions, that you have to fulfill in order to avail yourself fully with the guidance of the Quran. Now the second group. 3 types of people are discussed in these 2 rukus. Second, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Verily those people who have denied, who have decided to deny, سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ, for them it's equal. أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ, whether you warn them, أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ, or you don't warn them, لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, they are not going to believe. So actually, here also Quran is pointing towards certain people. This is not general. So many people were kuffar, had not become Muslims till these ayat were revealed, and they became Muslims later on. So it cannot be a generalized meaning. Actually, it's a particular group. Those people whom Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had preached for 12 years at Makkah, and they had understood the message of the Quran, and from the depths of their heart they believed that this is correct, but they didn't want to accept it due to their haughtiness, takabbur, due to their ghurur, because they were proud. They didn't want to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why should we follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are we inferior to Muhammad? No. Then this is actually, when they have decided, oh Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is equal. It's equally fruitless or without any result. Whether you preach them, whether you go on warning them anymore, or you stop preaching to them and warning them. La yu'minun, they are not going to believe. They have decided to remain kafir. They will not accept it. Khatam Allahu ala qulubihim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a seal on their hearts, wa ala sam'ihim, and on their ears, their hearing, wa ala absarihim gishawa, and on their eyes, there is a curtain. There is covering. on their eyes. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. And for them is waiting a very big torment. Now this again, please note, those people to whom preaching was done, the message of Quran had been conveyed to them, year after year. 12 years, Muhammad took sallallahu alayhi wa sallam at Makkah. Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab. It is not that they didn't understand. They understood. Quran was in their own language, and they knew Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Abu Lahab at least knew him from his very birth. But they had decided not to accept him, due to their haughtiness, their proudness. So actually now such people, they will not avail of your guidance, they will not avail of the guidance of the Quran,